An NFL source is claiming to already know who the New York Jets first round pick will be if a specific circumstance is reached. And we got to break this down because it's an exciting prospect. So what's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Jets Digest. Let's jump right into what we got for today. A new report suggests that New York will select Missouri's Armand Membo if he slips past the division rival New England Patriots, who have the number 4 overall pick in this year's draft. According to Sportskeeda's Tony Pauline, a league source told him that the Jets will swipe up tackle Armand Membo if he's available at 7th overall. He says, I spoke with a league source who told me that he believes that if the Patriots pass on Membo, the Jets will swipe him up with that 7th overall pick. This is all coming courtesy of the Jets X Factor. So talking about who Armand Membo is, he is a right tackle out of the University of Missouri, out of the SEC. Of course, the New England Patriots also are looking for tackle help with, Drake May, their quarterback, coming up. So he could be an option there. But if he is not taken by the New England Patriots, he will be available for the New York Jets. Talking about who Armand Membo is, he is one of the highest rising offensive tackles in the draft process. Before going into the year, we thought it was either going to be Kelvin Banks as the first tackle selected or Will Campbell out of LSU as the first tackle selected. But now many outlets are taking Armand Membo as their starting, the number 1 left tackle in the draft. And let's take a look at, according to Bleacher Report, the strengths and weaknesses of this prospect. So to start off, he is 6'3", 325 pounds. It's not listed here, but his arm length is 33.5 inches, which is on the shorter end of what you're looking for out of a first round pick as an offensive tackle. But there are players who have made those shorter arms work. One guy in specific who I want to point out was the 7th overall pick a couple years ago for the Detroit Lions in Penei Sewell, a guy with 33.25-inch arms, so even shorter than Armand Membo's arms. Although one important stat to point out is many NFL teams have a threshold set at 34 inches, and if you do not have 34-inch arms or longer, they will not draft you. So if the New York Jets have such a holdup, Armand Membo will be completely off the table for them. But since we need a right tackle, and I think Armand Membo, watching his film, I think he could be a difference maker in the pass game and develop more as a run defender or a run blocker, I think this guy would be a really good pick. But let's look at the pros via Bleacher Report here. So the first positive they have, twitched up explosive mover with a dense, thick build. We already talked about it. 6'3", so not the tallest guy, but 325. So he's a heavy dude. He's not going anywhere when you push on him. Excellent raw strength and natural power. Shows the range to beat widely aligned edge rushers to get to the spot, expand, and remain balanced at the top of the quarterback's drop. So let's break down what this means here. The widely aligned edge rushers are going to be D linemen lined up on the line of scrimmage with their hand in the dirt, pretty much as far out as possible, even farther out than where your tight end would be lined up. They do this so they can get a running start and try to get around your tackle as easy as possible. But according to Bleacher Report here, Armand Membo has quick feet and is able to get out and block these guys before they're able to get to our quarterback. Talking about the top of the quarterback's drop is the farthest point from the line of scrimmage that the quarterback will reach when he drops through, when he does his drop back, when he takes his steps and is going through his reads. So that's the point where you really got to make sure your quarterback is defended as well as you possibly can. And he's going to be able to expand and remain balanced. Remaining balanced is important because, obviously if you're off balance, you can't be falling over and you want to get that nice sturdy base. So you make sure no edge defenders can get to our quarterback, who is now Justin Fields. So he also has the length to establish first meaningful contact on defenders to clench and end reps quickly. So I talked about his arms being shorter than what a lot of teams are looking for. So that goes directly against this point by Bleacher Report. But if you watch the film, his lack of elite arm length does not really show up in the pass game because he doesn't, like Kelvin Banks, who is personally my favorite left tackle prospect or tackle prospect in general. He has a tendency to get off balance because he reaches, and he has to reach because his arms aren't as long as the NFL top tackles are. So Armand Membo didn't reach in the games that I watched. He did not get caught reaching. He was not caught off balance due to his shorter arms. And that gives me more positivity going forwards, making me think that he is going to be able to make the shorter arms work out in the NFL. One of the problems with the shorter arms is, while yes, it's not as big as a problem in the pass protecting game, in the run blocking game, that's when the short arms are really gonna hurt him. And we're gonna see some more comments relating to that when we pull up the negatives, as according to Bleacher Report. So he also excels at widening out, hooking, and displacing front side end on wide zone runs. So of course, wide zone runs is runs that you're running a zone blocking scheme and just outside runs. Armand Membo is able to get that most wide out edge defender and block them well. If you care, your front side defensive end is the defensive end who's lined up on the strong side of the formation. So he's going to be by your tight end, but our tight end's not going to be blocking him. It's going to be Armand Membo because he's good at that. So he also brings an imposing demeanor with the sustained skills and power to develop body blows as a finisher. I like the demeanor comment because one of the games I watched against, I think it was South Carolina, they had the freshman, the best defensive freshman. I don't exactly remember what the award was, but the defensive freshman of the year out of the entire SEC, and Armand Membo was just putting out teach tape on him. Like, he looked absolutely perfect pass protecting. So it definitely has a demeanor. Also, notable linear improvement in technique as the 2024 season progressed. So this comment is also backed up by his high grades from Pro Football Focus. So this is saying every week to week, you could see the improvement every single week made by Armand Membo. And this is also reflective of him being a riser as the season went along, while preseason he wasn't thought of as a first round pick or a really high pick in the NFL draft. But as the season went along, he was able to change scouts' minds and earn him a first round pick. And he's absolutely earned that with 2024 87.6 run block grade, which is high, and an 86.6 pass block grade, which is high. I like the fact that the run block grade is higher according to PFF because we're going to need him to be a run blocker. Our quarterback is a righty, which means the left tackle is going to be protecting the blind side. So our left tackle, Olu Fashanu, is going to have to be as good a pass protector as possible, where the right tackle is going to be more of a well-rounded lineman. He's not going to be a pass protection specialist because we're going to need to be able to run the ball off that side as well. So I do think, we see 2023 graded out 67.1 and then made a huge jump in 2024 up to 90.6. So we're hoping that if he was selected at 7th overall, he would be able to continue that ascendance into a really, really good tackle in the NFL. One point that I think I forgot to say, Penei Sewell, drafted by the Detroit Lions, also the 7th overall pick in that draft. So just a little connection there. Also, Detroit Lions, Aaron Glenn, the connections are everywhere when it comes to that man and that team and those players. But let's hop into the negatives according to Bleacher Report. So he will get caught short on his aiming points in the run game and or overrun his target, allowing quick penetration on combo overtakes and reach blocks, tends to drop his eyes as defenders work off and attempt to slip his drive blocks, leaving him overextended and off balance, will be tardy with strike timing against speed and power that exposes his chest and saps his anchor. So the last one is the comment here that scares me the most, because offensive linemen, defensive linemen, it's pretty much a race to see who's going to get their hands into the other guy's chest first. And if you're giving up your chest as an offensive lineman, it's going to be so much easier to drive you backwards, because when you have your chest being controlled by the person in front of you, you're not going to be able to set your anchor and really be able to stop the guy from coming up. He's going to be able to push you right over. That's not where you want to be. And that's one of the things that when you have those shorter arms, it's just that much harder to get into the other guy's chest first. So that's why that arm argument, I know I bring it up so many times, but it really is such an important measurement when it comes to offensive tackles, especially guys who you want to ascend into elite offensive tackles, which is what we would be expecting if we selected him in the top 10. So you may notice these negatives are more focused on his run game shortcomings instead of pass game shortcomings. So we are going to be getting, if we do go ahead and select Armand Membo, we would be picking up another guy who is a really good pass protector, a better pass protector than he is run blocker. But we would be, just as we did with Olu last year, we were hoping that he will hit the league as a good pass protector and be able to grow into a really good run blocker as well. So we're going to have bookend offensive tackles for Justin Fields if we do make the selection. And that's something that I think would be significantly more important than selecting a tight end in the first round, because if you ask me, the position advantage is just not there when it comes to tight end. And you don't take a tight end in the top 10 unless it's a Brock Bowers level talent, which the Penn State tight end Tyler Warren, he just isn't. I know he's extremely exciting, but Brock Bowers was a 2-time Mackey Award winner, the best tight end in college football, never been done before. Tyler Warren, while yes, he's a really good tight end, he's not the offensive centerpiece, just absolute game changer that Brock Bowers is. We see every year there are going to be tight ends in free agency that you can sign to fill in that hole on your team. Tackles that are as good as what Armand Membo could be are pretty much never available in free agency. And if they are, they go for a pretty penny. That's why I want to get a rookie right tackle, someone who is on that rookie contract so we don't have to pay him a ton of money. I absolutely love building the offensive line through the draft. If you look at the last time the Jets were in the playoffs, and last summer, I was watching some of the old playoff games, and at the beginning of the Cincinnati playoff game, they showed off the offensive line and where they were all taken in the draft, and 4 of the 5 guys were first-round picks. And, that building the team like that still matters today, because you got to make sure you got to build through the trenches. We just watched the Philadelphia Eagles just this year absolutely dominate the Kansas City Chiefs. Even though the Kansas City Chiefs had Patrick Mahomes, they couldn't pass protect for him, so it just didn't even matter. So if Patrick Mahomes can't make a bad offensive line work against a really good defense, how is anyone else supposed to make it work? I really think an offensive lineman is the pick if Mason Graham is not on the board. Of course, I think Mason Graham is a better overall prospect than Armand Membo is, but Membo fills a need. We need a right tackle. We have the other four offensive linemen figured out for this season. Right tackle is the last position of need. Right now, we have absolutely zero answer there. The guy we signed from the Patriots is most likely going to be a depth option, not even a swing tackle. He's looking like a depth option. I don't trust him at all to be the long-term or even short-term starting right tackle. I really think Armand Membo can fully solidify the offensive line for the Jets and give them potentially, I don't see why with Olu Fashanu and Armand Membo, I really think it's possible for the Jets to have the number one best offensive line in football. And to me, that's really exciting in a year where even if the Jets do mess around and make the playoffs, they're not competing for anything real. I really think whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Justin Fields going forwards or a rookie in next year's draft, we need to give him the best offensive line possible. And we got to get some wide receivers up in here. Garrett Wilson can't do it by himself, but Mougey's got to have a plan. There's no way that Garrett Wilson and Allen Lazard is the plan for weapons. So we definitely know some weapons are coming. It's just going to be, the only question now is who are they going to be? But that's what I got for you guys today. So if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new. As always, go Jets.